There's a level of self-discipline that separates the unstoppable from everyone else. And today you're going to discover the ancient system that creates it. Do you know that one person who never gives up, who wakes up every day at the exact same time, does the exact same things, and just never stops? While everyone else gives up after a few weeks or even days, they keep going. While everyone else makes excuses, they show up and face any situation, never accepting failure while everyone else gives up at the first sign of hardship. And you know what people say about them? They're lucky, they don't have the same problems as I do. They're more privileged. But what they don't see is the price that was paid to get there, the level of discipline they had to build. And today, you'll discover if you're willing to pay that same price. There's an ancient system, a fusion of Stoic discipline and Taoist flow, that produces exactly this kind of consistency. And once you understand how it works, you'll never give up on your goals again. You will become that person. But there's a catch. This system isn't for everyone. It requires you to kill a part of yourself you never knew existed, the part that negotiates, the part that quits, the part that says tomorrow. The Stoics practiced something called premeditatio malorum, preparing for obstacles before they arrive. The Taoists practiced wu wei, effortless action through natural alignment. When these two ancient wisdoms combine, they create something most people will never achieve, someone who literally cannot be stopped. But before I show you exactly how it works, subscribe to this channel, like the video, and comment what is something that helps you keep going. This helps me tremendously. Now, let's go. Chapter 1, The Prison of Your Own Mind. Let me tell you about someone I'll call Alex. He is a smart person. He has a good job, decent life, but couldn't stick to anything for more than 2 weeks. Gym, 3 months maximum before the membership card collected dust. Meditation, 1 week of apps and podcasts, then silence. Reading, books stacked on the nightstand like monuments but barely read. The pattern was always identical. Monday, pure fire and motivation, total commitment. Wednesday, first whisper of doubt. Friday, complete collapse. Saturday, promises about starting fresh next week. Alex tried everything. Accountability apps, reward systems, vision boards, none of it worked. You know why? Because Alex was fighting something invisible, something the Stoics understood 2,000 years ago, and the Taoists understood even earlier. Your brain has 2 modes, reversible and irreversible. Reversible commitments and negotiations. Your brain knows you can quit, so it constantly asks, should I quit today? Irreversible commitments don't negotiate, they simply exist. Marcus Aurelius wrote, at dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. He wasn't motivating himself, he was stating identity. Not I should go to work, not I'll try to go to work, I am someone who works. Laozi wrote, the way never acts, yet nothing is left undone. Same principle, different angle. When you align with what simply is, resistance disappears. The river doesn't decide to flow every morning, it flows because that's what rivers do. Alex had been making reversible commitments. I'm going to try meditation. Try is reversible, try is negotiable. Everything changed when Alex discovered what happens when you remove the negotiation entirely. Chapter 2, The Declaration that Ends Negotiation. Here's what the Stoics understood about human nature. We are social creatures. Our primitive brain still thinks we're in a tribe, and in that tribe, loss of status equals death. When you make a private promise, only you know when you break it. Your brain doesn't register real consequences, but when you make a public declaration, everything changes. Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Not try to be, not hope to be, say what you would be, declare the identity publicly, then become it. Alex stopped making private promises and made one public declaration. I am someone who meditates for 20 minutes every morning at 5 a.m. for 90 consecutive days. Written, signed, posted publicly, told everyone. Friends said you're being dramatic. Co-workers said why announce it? Just do it quietly. Perfect. Every person who knew became fuel for the fire. Now here's where Taoism enters. The Tao Te Ching says, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, but it doesn't say force the journey. It says begin and let the path unfold naturally. Alex combined both. Stoic declaration, public commitment removes negotiation. Taoist alignment, fixed practice that flows naturally, no forcing. Day 3 arrived. The alarm rang at 5 a.m. The mind immediately started its routine. You're exhausted. This isn't sustainable. One day won't matter. But something had shifted. The thought of posting online after 3 days that he'd failed? Unbearable. The thought of admitting to everyone he'd quit again? Worse than getting up. The public declaration had made quitting more painful than continuing, but the real war was just beginning. Chapter 3. The Power of the Unmovable Hour. Even with social pressure, Alex was still fighting biology every single morning. The body doesn't care about your reputation. It wants sleep when it's tired, comfort when it's uncomfortable. That's when the second principle activated, the unmovable hour. Every day you waste mental energy on the same stupid question: when should I do this? Morning or evening? Before or after breakfast? Now or later? This decision burns glucose that should fuel actual practice. You're wasting fuel deciding when to drive instead of actually driving. Marcus Aurelius had a solution. He wrote, "Confine yourself to the present. Not find the perfect time, not wait until you feel ready. The present moment, fixed, unmovable." Alex chose 5 a.m., not because mornings are magical, not because of sunrise or productivity myths. 5 a.m. because the world is asleep. No messages, no distractions, no excuses. The time wasn't about optimization, it was about elimination, eliminating every possible reason to delay. But here's where Taoism's wisdom became critical. Laozi taught, nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. The fixed hour doesn't mean forcing, it means creating the conditions where practice flows naturally. Week 1 was hell. The body fought every morning, normal. You're building a new pattern against years of old ones. Week 2, something shifted. Alex started waking 2 minutes before the alarm. The body was preparing automatically. By day 14, feet hit the floor before conscious thought even engaged. No decision, no willpower battle, just movement. This is what people don't understand about fixed hours. It's not about finding the perfect time. It's about removing time as a variable. When the time changes daily, your brain makes a new decision every day. When the time is fixed, your brain can't argue with a constant. But Alex discovered a new trap. The schedule was fixed, but the practice itself kept changing. Some days meditation, other days reading, sometimes exercise. The brain had found a new negotiation point. Instead of arguing about when, it started arguing about what. This is where the Stoic concept of amor fati, love of fate, and the Taoist purich-sun-carved simplicity converge into something powerful. Chapter 4. The One Path. You think variety keeps things interesting, but variety is actually where consistency dies. Every time you change what you're doing, your brain makes micro-decisions. Push-ups or burpees today? Which book should I read? How long should I meditate? Every small decision is a crack where old patterns leak back in. Seneca wrote, "Everywhere is nowhere. When a person spends all his time in foreign travel, he ends by having many acquaintances but no friends." Translation: when you do everything, you master nothing. Laozi said it differently. In pursuit of knowledge, every day something is added. In the practice of the Tao, every day something is dropped. Both are saying the same thing. Simplify. Remove. Focus. Alex locked everything down completely. 20 push-ups, 10 minutes meditation, 10 minutes reading. Same order, same timer, same sequence. Every single day for 90 days. Friends called him robotic. His partner said he was becoming obsessive. They didn't understand that robotic was exactly the point. Week 3. The mind went to war. "This is stupid, you're not a robot. Mix things up, you'll burn out." Week 4. Something broke. Not discipline, resistance. The voice of negotiation grew quieter. By week 6, Alex was halfway through push-ups before even realizing he'd started. The practice was taking care of itself. This is what the Stoics called pro-hieris, the will directed rightly. This is what the Taoists called sujan, self-so, spontaneous arising. When you repeat the same action in the same context long enough, the basal ganglia in your brain take over. The behavior becomes automatic. You're no longer deciding to do it. You're simply doing it. Day 35, Alex caught the flu. Day 40, work travel, early flight, no gym at hotel. This is where the old pattern always won, where everyone quits, because perfect practice requires perfect conditions, and perfect conditions don't exist. But here's where premeditation meets Wu Wei. Chapter 5. Practice without gaps. The Stoics practice something called premeditatio malorum, negative visualization, imagining obstacles before they arrive so you're never surprised. Marcus Aurelius, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, "The people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." Not pessimism, preparation. The Taoists approached it differently, but arrived at the same place. Laozi, anticipate the difficult by managing the easy, accomplish the great by managing the small. Both philosophies understood, obstacles are guaranteed, pre-solutions are optional. Alex did what both would recommend. wrote down every obstacle that had ever broken consistency, then pre-solved each one. Sick? 2 push-ups, 1-minute meditation, 1-page reading, travel, push-ups in the airport bathroom, meditate in the Uber, read on the plane, guests at home, silent practice in the bathroom at 5 a.m., hangover, shouldn't happen but if it does, reduced version, never 0. Every scenario had its predetermined response. When X happens, I do Y. No thinking, no negotiating, just execution. This is the fusion, Stoic premeditatio. Anticipate failure points, prepare responses, Taoist Wu Wei. Pre-solutions allow effortless flow when obstacles arise. When day 40 arrived with early travel, there was no decision to make. Airport at 4 a.m., push-ups in the bathroom, people stared. Great. Meetings all day, meditation during the Uber ride, no quiet space, read on the plane. Nothing was perfect. Everything maintained momentum. The practice continued because the answers were already written. This is what the Stoics meant by amor fati, love your fate, including obstacles. This is what the Taoists meant by flowing like water, adapting without breaking. People started noticing. Cow workers, you seemed empathetic. Someone actually said, your discipline isn't healthy. Normal people don't act like this. When you hear these words, you know you're on the right path. Normal people get normal results. You're not trying to be normal, you're trying to be unbreakable. Chapter 6. The Person You Become. Day 70. Alex's practice had become completely automatic. Sometimes waking up not even remembering doing the push-ups. The body moved through the sequence like breathing. Day 90. Complete. 3 months of uninterrupted practice. But something deeper had happened. Alex was no longer the same person. Friends literally said, your consistency is scary. Perfect. Because here's what both philosophies understood. Discipline isn't about doing something every day. It's about becoming someone who can't do it any other way. Marcus Aurelius, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Not try to be. Not work toward being. Be. Laozi. The master does nothing yet leaves nothing undone. Not because he forces himself, because his nature has transformed. When you implement this system, public declaration, Stoic social commitment, fixed hour, remove time as a variable, trinoata post-bokont, single sequence, Taoist simplicity, pre-solved obstacles, Stoic preparation meets Taoist flow. You're not just creating habits, you're reshaping identity. You stop being someone who tries, you become someone who simply is, and when that transformation is complete, people will look at you and think, how does he do that? The answer is simple, he doesn't, he is. The question isn't whether you can do this. The question is whether you're ready for what this will cost, because it will kill your inconsistent self, the person who negotiates, the person who quits, the person who says tomorrow. That person has to die for the unbreakable version to be born. The Stoics called it spiritual transformation. The Taoists called it returning to your original nature. Both require the same sacrifice. Who you were must die so who you are can emerge. Your consistency won't make people comfortable. It will make them question themselves. And when they can't answer those questions, they'll call you obsessive. When you hear that word, smile, because you've finally arrived where most people will never go. If this video changed how you see discipline, subscribe to Stoic and Taoist Wisdom. Comment below, what will your public declaration be? Remember, the consistency that scares others is the only consistency worth having. See you in the next one.